Hello and welcome to the OutofLives podcast. This week I am joined by your bald bearded bastard Ben
Hiya.
and the glorious one, as always, Mr. Moody.
Hello.
Coming to you a week later than we expected, but E3 just happened a little while ago.
It did.
And we are going to give you our rundown of the games we thought were awesome. So yeah, Ben, take it away.
All of the games that I think are awesome.
All
1,
of them,
2,
just-
10, all of them.
Just
Bloody
all-
hell.
Everything
Right.
you saw.
I'm going back to sleep.
There's a lot.
Might be
There's
a
a lot.
while.
There's a lot of stuff shown. I'll just give a very brief rundown of maybe like the top 5. PlayStation conference, awful, but all of the games shown absolutely fantastic. One of which I'll probably jump into a little bit in depth at some point. What else did we see? Sea of Solitude, which is that sort of indie game from EA. That was shown. That looked brilliant. I love The Division. So The Division 2 hit quite well for me. I wanted maybe a little bit extra from The Division. Something slightly different, but it looks like it's going to be more of the same. And actually, I'm fine with that. I've got no problems with just playing some more of that. Different setting. Highly political, irrelevant of what the developer says. Definitely is. So yeah, brilliant. Division 2. There's loads of stuff. Why are you making me try and remember all these things and just continuously talk without stopping and just reeling off games and stuff?
I like watching you suffer. Is essentially what.
Thanks.
If
yeah.
I'm suffering today, everyone else is going to suffer on the podcast.
That's it. That's good. Yeah. There was loads of stuff that I kind of that tickled my interest, but that perhaps after having maybe like a week after that I've kind of forgotten about or I don't recall really being that excited for. Some things that you're like, oh, that looks quite good. Okay, fine. Like stuff like Skull and Bones looked quite cool, but actually I'm probably not going to play that game. Session, which was one of the games shown at Microsoft's conference that everyone thought was Skate 4, but it definitely wasn't.
Not Skate.
No.
Is the game.
Session, I love a skateboarding game. I don't have an Xbox. Would it make me buy one for Session? I don't know. We haven't really seen very much of it, so that is to be seen when we get a little bit more information on that. But there's loads of stuff like that. What was the other one? Talking about the PlayStation conference. Oh, Control, Remedy's new game.
Yeah.
That looks brilliant. I really like the look of that. I didn't play because I don't have an Xbox. I didn't play Quantum Break, but some people liked it, some people didn't. It kind of got a bit mixed reviews. People didn't like
you
the way
didn't
that
miss anything, trust me. You didn't.
yeah, people didn't like the way the movie stuff tied into it, and maybe the combat wasn't as people thought it should be. Maybe it wasn't quite as tight as people were expecting. But if they've got over a few of the things that maybe Quantum Break had wrong for Control, I'm really looking forward to that. It seemed to be a good year for female protagonists as well. Obviously with Gears 5, Control, we're starting to get a few more female protagonists come through. And I'm all about diversity.
Yeah.
I don't need to play white guy, bald bearded white guy number 1. I already exist. Don't need to play that anymore. So, it's all about diversity. Hooray!
So Moody just took a few games off the top of your head that were worth mentioning, but we're not going to deep dive into too much here.
The game I'm buying this Friday, Unraveled 2.
Fair.
I loved Unraveled 1. It was one of my favourite games of that year, and I can't wait to get into it. I just didn't have the money to go and get it straight away at E3, during E3, but I intend to get it this Friday. Can't wait for that. Sea of Solitude, like Ben shouted out, I think that looked... Those two were the strongest aspects of EA's conference.
Yeah, they were.
Conference. So they were all great. Ori, loved to look what I saw of Ori at Microsoft's conference. Really just want me to go back into that world even more. One game I did not surprise. I think it was just how it was shown off, and with the energy that was from Terry Crews. Crackdown 3 actually made me go, really raise an eyebrow, going, you know what, this might not be too bad. But watch this, I'll play it, I'll be like, fuck, never again, I'll play it, I'll be like, never again am I trusting this. Spider-Man, the amazing show, and I can't wait to play that game in September. Like, there's so many great games this year. What we've seen so far from all the conferences and everything. We could discuss certain who won and all that, but that's neither here or there. I always say we won. So
Yeah,
That's fair.
completely.
That's fair. And just a few games from me. Obviously, Tunic, the cute fox version of Zelda. Zelda. Cannot wait to play that. Smash Ultimate, which is probably the only thing worth mentioning from Nintendo's press conference. It's good to see that everyone's coming back. So even those
Everyone.
P2 mains can be happy in a new Smash.
Mate, everyone's crying about Waluigi.
Where's he at? You know, that is the only disappointing thing about Smash Ultimate, which means we're probably not going to get that many new characters at launch. Oh well. But yeah, like there was a lot of stuff shown. I mean, Microsoft showed over 50 games, and a few of them we're going to go into. So I'm trying not to think of what are we going to talk about that I can't say too much about. But yeah,
Say what you like, mate. Say what you like.
Hell, I don't know. It was a long ass show, man.
It was. So one thing that that really caught me off guard, that I think was like Microsoft's biggest, absolutely their biggest like steal, was them getting Ninja Theory, the makers of Hellblade.
That was a big deal.
Hellblade was my game of the year last year. I absolutely loved that game. You know, small, tight team, smaller budget, but delivering on an absolutely phenomenal experience, banging quality, well written, well acted, just thoroughly enjoyable in a very distressing and cathartic kind of way, because it is a brutal experience, really. But you know, not having the new Xbox One or the X, it kind of makes me think a little bit more about next gen and whether I need to, because I've only ever been a one console household. I can, you know, a child. I've always been a student. I've only ever been able to afford one. Plus, you know, like a monstrous PC, which is here nor there. But it's made me sort of question whether I'd want to experience something else from Ninja Theory on the Microsoft console, or whether I just play it on my PC. We won't go into that too much. But, you know, it kind of brings it into question a little bit. You know, Microsoft did well with their acquisitions, bringing studios in underneath them. So, yeah, all in all.
The thing about this E3, sorry for putting it at the end there, but my apologies. And the thing about this E3 for me was that it's all in a vacuum. Because you can clearly see Microsoft even said at the end of their bloody conference, Microsoft and PlayStation are now getting ready for the next gen. We know this. That's coming. The signs seem like it's 2020. It all seems 2020, even though we didn't get any of the dates for like The Last of Us, Death Stranding, and all that. I still believe I'll still stand by. I think Death Stranding is a launch game for the PlayStation 5. I stand that. I think it'll be on the PlayStation 4, just like Zelda was it was on Wii U and Switch, but they'll push it hard for PlayStation 5 and everything. And Last of Us Part 2 will be the last hurrah for the PlayStation 4. I've always thought that. So I think Last of Us is going to be 2020, like probably May 2020, like the Last of Us first game was before E3, and that's how I think it's going to be. You can see it all the like. Halo, the new Halo, that's arguably could be a launch game for the next Xbox.
Has to be a launch title.
Yes, that's what it clearly is. That's what I think it is. I think they're just saying, yes, Halo is coming, but we ain't going to throw it out until 2020 for whenever the next Xbox is. If it is all 2020, like I said, we're all just surmising and everything right now. Gears is probably going to be their last true hurrah for next year. They're saying it's 2019, so that's probably going to be their last hurrah. And then, so that means for me, then it just makes me interested. What's next E3 going to be? I'm just like, we all know this vacuum is still in. What can they actually show us next year? What can they actually show us?
It's very difficult. Yeah.
For me, like, I've seen a lot of people. Like, obviously, we could go into like how the conferences were. We all agreed that how PlayStation did their conference was terrible, but the games they showed were absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
we all said that, but. And that makes me think, do PlayStation maybe need to go, you know what, we don't need to do a proper conference, maybe we do a PlayStation Direct type thing. What Nintendo do? Just a full-on pre-recorded thing, 30 minutes, not even that. Just throw the games out and everything like that, and just see what's coming. And they could even tease at the end, look out for what's coming 2020 with our new system or something like that.
Just before you sort of jump in, Scott, with this, I liked the way that PlayStation actually built up to the conference, and they had a small announcement each day, sort of the 5 days, prior to the conference. I liked the way they built up to that, and had they have had maybe a more cohesive and well-planned main event, press briefing, starting off with The Last of Us and finishing on however you want, and rolling through rather than having this awkward change, and the PlayStation social team sitting down with Sean Layden and having a conversation that was kind of a bit meaningless about The Last of Us 2 just because they needed to get people into a different room, just didn't work. And I think if they'd have, as you say, Moody, even if they'd have had maybe a 30-minute kind of direct approach kind of thing, if they'd have still done that build up through the week, like, hey, here's an announcement, hey, here's an announcement, hey, here's an announcement, and then on the day just blasted through that stuff, then people wouldn't be saying maybe it was quite so bad. But
yeah, I agree with you. I think conferences have now become such an event, and we expect it to flow so well and everything. And I still stand by that. Hey, Xbox had an amazing conference. Arguably, probably had the best conference, but they had a lull in the middle of it. Yeah. I was just like, "Whoa, this is getting slow now. Speed it up," and they did that. They did that very well, and they nailed it. Like you said, when you brought up with the buying those new studios and everything, that was just an amazing punch, especially with the Ninja Theory buy and everything. That was absolutely fantastic. I just think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next year or two. It's going to be very interesting. I think PlayStation will do the same thing what they did to PlayStation 4. They will reveal something in like February, March time in 2020. See you at E3. Reveal the whole console price and everything. They'll do everything the same as they did last year.
I think so.
PlayStation 4. They're really good. I think Xbox could tell you about it next year.
I think we're going to see both next year.
Ooh.
I genuinely because you got to think about it. Because if you go into like Microsoft's Xbox One reveal, if we go back, was abysmal. Like, it was the worst console reveal in a long time. Maybe apart from the Nintendo-Sony partnership where the console was announced, then the partnership ended the day after or whatever it was. That was also like pretty bad. But yeah, the whole TV stuff didn't work, and Quantum Break was definitely a victim of that. Still haven't got that Halo TV show that was promised all the way back then.
You're never gonna, mate. You're never gonna.
I'm gonna hold on to it. I want to see my Spartans in a proper TV show, not just Nightfall. Shots fired. So yeah. What was I gonna say?
You did. It's called Ready Player One, mate. If you go and check that film out, they're on that.
But they need their own film, Moody. That was just the setup. It's gonna spin off from there. So we're gonna have Microsoft show it and then be like, look, games, new console, games, or whatever they want to do. Just like. And then when they come, say it launches August of 2020, they can go to E3 2020 and be like, we've shown you the console, now here's what it can really do, and then go in with all these big AAA titles and so next year they reveal it, show more games and be like, look, we've still got stuff coming for Xbox One, but we're sort of focusing on the future now. Or they'll tease it at the end of next year, and then
they'll say what they did last year.
Yeah.
Or the year before that when they said next Project Scorpio or whatever.
But I think we'll probably get a better name than like just a project. I think they'll just be announcing it's like, ooh, here it is. Get ready for it or something like that.
Yeah, it's difficult to kind of not reveal too much at once because obviously they still want to sell as many Xbox Ones or Xbox One X's as possible. For them to say the new console's on its way, and then you kind of look at the conference and think, well, actually, that's probably going to come out on the new console. That's probably going to come out on the new console. All of the games from the developers that they've acquired are probably going to come out on the new console.
Well, I mean, if you sit
it
down,
kind of maybe it might slow the momentum for them slightly. So I think by them holding back a little bit, and and not giving any kind of dates for stuff like Halo and things like that, kind of keep it a little bit more ambiguous. Still keeps people on their toes a little bit, and might just keep up the sales for the current consoles.
I agree with you there, where it shouldn't reveal it too soon, but I think they are going to. I think Scott's probably spot on that they will probably tells you something about it at the end of their conference at E3 next year, because they multiple times they've basically they haven't come out and said it, but basically how they've done things and everything. They've conceded this generation multiple times. They know that they've lost it. Now this conference was short. They're preparing for next generation now.
Yeah.
They're going to do it again. They'll be winding off what they've got for 2019. Then next E3, I think E3's a lot of the games they probably show will probably be 2019 games. And I think, or even or early 2020 games, and everything, all preparing for the whatever the Xbox 2 or whatever the hell they're going to call it next for 2020. And I think I don't think they'll drop August. I think it'll be probably the same dates as they were last time, November. I think they'll drop in November or something like that. Whoever comes out first. It all really depends. It's all going to be on the thing is. PlayStation absolutely wiped the floor because they got the messaging right, even though, yes, they're kind of fucking up the message with Fortnite right now, but they're going to fix that. We know they are. I know they are. Like, they're going to. We know they are. I think they'll hold it and they'll say, wait until PSX or something. Say, hey, we fixed it, guys. There we go. See, we also got name changes for you, as a bastard. So stop whining. There you go. You love us again. Thank you. Go and play our exclusives and all that. I mean,
we've asked all the developers to stop work on all of the games that they're currently making. So all of our games are coming out 6-9 months later than we were. But we've completely fixed PlayStation Network. We've had everybody working for PlayStation just working on PlayStation Network, and we brought you crossplay and name changes. No stability, no anything else. Just thousands of people working on name changes.
The thing is, they'll when at PSX, they're talking to their people, and that's the best reaction they're going to get as well.
Completely, yeah.
They'll get the biggest roar out of all of it, especially if they do a conference this year at PSX. So if they didn't do one last year, it was all seminars and all that, wasn't it? Like people put on interviews for people, like that. Greg McGill talking to the head of Sony and all that and whatnot. So I think that if they do, unless it all depends if will PlayStation be at because what have we got? Gamescom. No one goes to that anymore. It's a shame. Everyone was saying that's going to be the next E3, and it's no conference there.
Microsoft was there last year, weren't they?
Moody,
I mean, when it comes to conferences,
and I'm not.
That's what I meant.
That's fair. That's fair, bro. That's fair.
And what is it? Paris Games Week, where Sony have seemed like they've gone the last 2 years now.
Yeah, it might be 3.
Yeah, and obviously they got the Tokyo Game Show, but that's neither here or there for us and whatnot.
TGS.
And then it's PSX. It also could be very intriguing to see what happens this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear PlayStation will not be at Gamescom. Well, they'll throw games there, but they will not have a conference.
Yeah, no.
But they won't have a conference at Paris Games Week. There'll be a Tokyo Game Show. We know that. But other than that, I'll be surprised if they don't have a conference this year at PSX. I just have this feeling they're going to have something. Because they have to. If Tsushima's 2019, they got to show it again. Possibly at least show the year it's coming out at least.
Yeah.
They probably won't show the date, but they'll show the year. If you don't see a year for Last of Us, that's for me saying even more. It's 2020, and Death Stranding the same as probably 2020, if not a launch for the PlayStation 5. But that's
I think Death Stranding for a launch title is probably a lock at this point.
Yeah.
There's no way games we've seen are all just like with Halo, like all the games we're seeing now, like there's definitely some next gen ones in there, even if they get remastered. Although I don't see that title coming up into the next gen, the remaster. I think it'll be just the enhanced version or something like that.
Oh, something like that. Yeah, Last of Us Part 2 will be ported to PlayStation 5 and all that. We know this.
Completely. I mean, that's sort of already happening with the Pro and with the X.
Yeah.
We're just getting a ginormous patch. The Witcher 3 is never going to need to be remastered. They'll just update kind of how the system plays with it and how much you can see and the density of everything, as they've done with these updates for the half consoles and stuff. So yeah, I think you're right that we might see more remakes, stuff like Fantasy 7, whatever Blue Point working on, as we had with Shadow of the Colossus and stuff. We might see some more remakes.
Yeah, they tease
maybe they change it up a little bit.
Just not revealed anything. So I'm like,
no,
what are you working on? What is it?
They'll drop next year probably.
Yeah, probably.
Ooh, you reckon? Ooh, I think
they
the year
work
after.
fast. They work fast. Like they're really quick and efficient at what they do.
If it's up next year, it's early 2020.
To get the results they do as well. Like, I remember first hearing about Blue Point when they did the 360 version of Titanfall, and for all intents and purposes, that game shouldn't have been as good as it was on 360, and it was pretty decent. Like, yeah. Speaking
it's
of
simpler to downgrade something than upgrade, something in it.
But to get something to work on Xbox 360 is when working with the Xbox One architects.
Just one man typing compress continuously.
/compress. Oh, that's a texture we don't need. Delete.
They don't know what this texture looks like in the 360. We delete that.
Speaking of next gen, just before we move into the games, how many of the consoles are going to be completely backwards compatible? All of them, right? Sony needs to be able to be backwards compatible with PS4 and below. Xbox kind of have it a bit easier and can just be like, look, the Xbox 2 is compatible, like backwards compatible with Xbox One, which is also backwards compatible with 360 and Xbox. So you know what I mean? Like the lineage is there, but like I just thought it's like it has to be right. They'll just get lynched if not.
Well, there's already rumors that PlayStation Now might be getting a download.
Yeah.
Where it's like Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. So if they do that, then they put on a proper price for it and everything, then that's them got their backwards compatibility all sorted and whatnot. So then they're all done and they're all ready to go for next gen and everything. So
yeah. So okay, well let's just talk about the games then. So I've got about 3 or 4 games that I've run a deep dive into.
Cool.
But we'll start with Moody. Moody, what was one of the highlight games of E3 this year for you that we'll want to deep dive into?
Last of Us. Loved it. I absolutely loved when I saw it. I didn't stay up to watch the conference. I got up in the morning with my mate and we watched it all refreshed and everything. We were all good, so we were like going, "Oh my eyes! This looks so good, but my eyes are closed. Oh God, it's gone." And then I absolutely loved. I loved how it all started with the dancing and all like that, and then just how it switched into proper gameplay. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, and it's just diving in so hard that not only this is Ellie's game, this is Ellie's story, and that I don't think not only should the opponent, the villains should be afraid of her. I think we should be afraid of her because we're going to be controlling her. We're going to be doing all this, and we're going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do this." And we're going to be like, "Oh shit, I did it."
Oh, she's ripping up in her throat. No, Ellie, no, bad Ellie, bad Ellie.
Like, I don't know if we're going to be like at the end, like where she kills that guy in Last of Us 1, where I'll hold my hand up. I was like, yes, kill him, kill that sick bastard. But we might be completely different in this one. We're saying, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, and all that. I think it's going to be an extraordinary game. What they showed was absolutely brilliant for me personally. I loved it.
Me and Ben were watching the conference live. You can see our reactions to it. Yeah, like the game looks beautiful as all hell, and like my only kind of minor gripe is that it looks exactly the same gameplay wise. Well, I mean not exactly the same. Obviously, there's improvements and stuff. Going under the cars and stuff was really cool. But like gameplay mechanically, it seemed a lot like Last of Us. And now I'm pretty outspoken about this. Like, I don't like Last of Us the game. I love Last of Us the story. Like, so the story of The Last of Us is really intriguing. It's probably one of the best video game narratives we've seen in a long time. And there's just the gameplay didn't click with me at all. I didn't have fun playing the game. So hopefully this changes it up enough. But from what I've seen right now, it hasn't changed it up. But god damn that story, and like it's intense. Like I want to be invested in this world, and I already am invested in this world. I just want to see where it goes. There's the ties of her mother. You know, like what's going to happen. I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes. I'm more engaged in the story of Last of Us more so than the actual gameplay of The Last of Us. But Ben, shooting it over to you.
Well, I mean, The Last of Us was one of mine as well, so I'll sort of give you a little bit. I mean, we've had a lot, not a lot, we've had a few things teased, you know, as you say. We had that trailer that came out with a bunch of completely different characters in that everyone maybe surmised was a flashback and could have been Ellie's mum, and the couple of kids that were hanging around as well. Was it that she saved one of them or they had her? I can't remember exactly what it was. But we've had lots of little teases and things like the trailer that was shown where it works in from the dance and the kiss into gameplay and then back out again. It would be interesting if that, as people have suggested, I don't want that to be just a vertical slice made for E3. I think if we had like that, and it was sort of like flashbacks or Ellie thinking about things like this, it would work really well, as a narrative, and having like those slight reprieves in this brutal gameplay where Ellie is just going around battering people, to then go to a more touching moment, or jump to maybe another character in a flashback because Ellie's found a journal or something, she's reading about her mother and her experiences or something like that, and suddenly you see a little bit of her mother, and then you play a little section as her mother. Maybe I think they're saying that this is Ellie's story and you're not going to play as Joel, but I'm not sure they've said that you're only going to play as Ellie. I don't remember reading that specifically. I very much remember reading you don't play as Joel.
Yeah.
But that was it. So whether her mother features as a playable character as well is obviously still to be seen.
Will we see Joel before launch?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be in the next trailer. I think it'll be in the next trailer, yeah.
Okay. I kind of hope I mean, it makes sense to show him, but I'd be really cool. Like, I think it'd be really neat if they could hold off on showing him until launch. Like, because I think that's one of the biggest mysteries up in the air for Last of Us. And especially if it's Ellie's story. Like, the intrigue of what Joel's doing, as long as it's not something like he's a mundane farmer and then he just dies. As long as it's not like that, then I think having the reveal saved for the game, it will be something quite special, especially for fans of The Last of Us.
Yeah, I can see a trailer at PSX that shows Joel and a date. We might only get as they did last year with dates, they might only give us like the quarter, so it might be autumn 2019 or something like that. But I think we'll get some kind of window for it, and a Joel reveal almost as well. Okay. You don't get many secrets in games these days.
I know, and that's why it'd be nice, especially like it's been so long since we've, as Ellie, have interacted with Joel. Like, it'd be nice for that interaction to be in the game and just be like, oh. Like, I think it has more semblance than just throw it in a trailer. Like, I think there's a special connection there, especially after playing the father figure.
Yeah.
As Joel, to come back as the daughter and be like, and we're just like, we're essentially the children's like, I want to see him again. I haven't seen him. Like, there's that longing for seeing Joel again, and I think just throwing it away in a trailer is a mistake. Honestly, I think it could be a really powerful beat, especially if they play it up in the game as a really powerful moment. Why ruin that powerful moment by having it in the trailer and being like, oh, well, we know Joel's going to be in this situation. Okay, cool. Like, that's the problem. Like, and I think if they can balance that and just hold off, have some restraint. Like, the game's going to sell. It's Last of Us Part 2. Like, they don't need to show Joel. They don't. And if they can hold it off. But then again, this is the problem. If it's a 2020 game, then they're probably going to have to show him because of the marketing train. If it's 2019, hopefully, then maybe they could get away with it. I don't know. I don't want that moment to be revealed in a trailer. Like, showing him at all, it's kind of like, I want to know what you're doing. I don't want to see someone else show me what you're doing, essentially. Especially if it's not the moment they meet, then I know the moment we meet is going to lead to something else. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the one thing I'm very wary of with this game. Like, it's been very Ellie focused. There is the Joel thread, and just to waste that thread, it'd be a real shame.
Yeah, it would, and people have kind of surmised online about the storyline and where it may be going and things like that, and talking about perhaps the first trailer actually comes after the one that was shown at E3. That maybe Dina, the girl that she's dancing with, is killed by someone. And she then wants to go on this murderous rampage and kill everybody, but maybe she doesn't feel she can do that by herself, and that's where she goes to see Joel, to go and get Joel to help her on this revenge quest that she has. He says no, she goes and does it anyway. You then jump into trailer 1 where he's kind of thought, actually, I better go, and he catches up with her, and she's already just murdered fucking everybody.
Just the Nathan Drake of the last
exactly. Yeah.
Basically, I have to say, I feel for Ellie's girlfriend because everybody survives and she's dead. She's dead. Yeah. Everyone's saying she's dead, and I would love Naughty Dog literally completely swerve us to say, "Oh no, she's dead." isn't it? It's all about her mother and all like that, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I'm happy with that. Good on her. She has something to come back to eventually, and all like that. But we all surmise that. Yeah, she's dead. Like she's probably been brutally murdered, and then Ellie's just gone full on Super Saiyan on them. Whatever, but I feel for her, but I can't wait for this game, man. I can't wait. When I get into what you said, Scott, about I agree with you where you say they do great stories but not great game mechanics. I do agree with you, but that's their thing. That's also their thing, and they do enough. The game mechanics for me are good enough to be just that good. That's all. I enjoy the game mechanics. I think but the story is the thing we go for all of them. I think these days, when it comes to a lot of the games that any Sony exclusives are thrown out, it's all a bit about the story. The God of War story this year was absolutely incredible. The Detroit story I really enjoyed. Horizon, really loved that and all that. This is what they've been their main theme this year. It's all about the stories. Everyone loved. I don't know about everyone, to what I can see from the creator and all that. The love for the Uncharted 4's story was incredible. I had an emotional impact on that, especially at the end. I was just like, oh yes, we're going to get something new and eventually in the future, probably PlayStation 5 era or whatever, what I can't wait for, or maybe PlayStation 6 era, and then they'll hold it off even that long. But I can't. Yeah, there's all that. This is why I think this is why the PlayStation have beaten the Xbox when it comes to exclusives. They just had the best stories and all that. Like throwing into that Quantum Break, I thought had a diabolical story. I was just like, wow, poorly acted. Poor story, poor everything. I hated it, and I was just like, wow. So this is the thing. Quantum Break had a great story. I think I would have liked it much more because it had a basic game mechanics, just like what Last of Us is, just like the Uncharted games and all like that. And if they had the great story, I think I might have loved that game. But this is what's so different about games these days. It's not just about the game mechanics anymore. No, it is about the story. 20 years ago, it was all about the game mechanics. Now it's multiple things and everything. Yeah. So that's what's so good about it.
Last point on Last of Us. Get it? Oh, shit joke.
Terrible segue, but we'll do it anyway.
Will there be multiplayer in it?
Yeah, they've already confirmed it.
Oh, well, never mind. Yeah. Fuck that. I missed that announcement.
Yeah, they've already confirmed that.
Because that was like, I'm really surprised. Like every time someone talks to me about Last of Us, like they mention the multiplayer in like a really high regard. I was like, oh, okay. Like I never touched the multiplayer personally, but it's a lot of people loved it. A lot of people.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I never touched it because it's just not my type of thing. But a lot of people loved it. Yeah, I was just like, wow, that's surprising.
Yeah,
and the same goes for Uncharted. Uncharted 4 had a lot of people enjoyed that multiplayer as well. So
yeah, yes. I much preferred the multiplayer in The Last of Us actually to Uncharted. Uncharted was a bit more fast-paced, frantic kind of. Pulpy over the top, whereas The Last of Us did capture the tone of in parts of the game, doing a little bit of crafting, and it's a lot more kind of cat and mousey about chasing people around like a smaller, well-crafted but quite contained kind of map. Yeah.
Cool. So, Ben, give me a game. I mean, we're just final thing. Like, we're all very excited for Last of Us 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ben,
definitely
give us another game that isn't Last of Us 2.
Right. I'm gonna go in Sony's running order. Ghost of Tsushima.
Wow. Okay, 2 Sony games. I wonder if we'll make it a third one.
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima was my kind of pick of the conferences of the whole of E3. Really, it's the one that I think I'm most looking forward to. It just looks beautiful. It's one of the Last of Us looked beautiful, but in such a somber sort of way. And whilst Ghost of Tsushima had that somber tone to it, it popped. It was beautiful. It had loads of bright, brilliant colours to it. The skies, that landscape when he comes up through the field right at the beginning, just as he's got off his horse, it just looks absolutely fantastic. And the combat, and I've read a few things about that. One of the studio founders has been saying about the game since it was shown at E3, and that the combat which looked fantastic in the trailer, but he said it's going to be much more skill based than like a hack and slash,
okay,
which appeals to me even more.
Like Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Fuck that. No, I'm out.
So it's the way that he kind of said that it makes every encounter not just something to run into. You've got to think about things, and yes, it may sway a little bit more towards that kind of From Software gear towards things. But I like that. I like having to think about stuff, especially, you think a samurai isn't really someone that just goes in and just randomly fucking throws his katanas around everywhere. He will be thinking about it, and with like Bushido, you want that instant like draw of your katana to be able to take someone down, and we got that in the trailer, and stuff like a parrying system and things like that really appealed to me. Maybe take something like The Witcher, but improve on it vastly, but kind of that sit back, assess, think about things, look for your openings, parry, and then be able to hit like a skilled fucking swipe would be right up my street. And the story looks, from the small bits that we've seen, stuff like it happening during a Mongol invasion, so you very much seem like you'll be on the back foot. It just appeals to me almost in every single way.
That's a freaking great description of it. I mean, I remember us watching it, and then when he does come up over that up the mountainside, and you see the rain just falling in the distance like it would in real life. That was like, oh, that's amazing. Another thing from the reveal is that the mission we saw was a side quest.
Right.
So that's decent, and just the Blossom almost Western like showdown was freaking phenomenal, man. Like we were marking out so hard. We were just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like this is proper Last Samurai, Seven Samurai stuff like that. I just loved it so much, and it brings out that kid in me. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be a samurai. I'm gonna do the swing, and it's gonna cut someone, and it's gonna be like whoosh, ching, and very excited for Ghost of Tsushima. The blossoms falling, and then just seeing the foliage move underneath their feet, like all that attention to detail just enhances the world. And I'm really excited to see where this goes and how they will handle the massive battles. Like maybe they won't do it. I don't know. Like with the Mongol Empire, it's kind of intriguing. Like, will we see a Last Stand type thing where he's just fighting off loads of them? Oh, I'd love that so much. Like it's raining arrows. He's got other people with him, and it's just these band of guys just fighting them off, and they're just almost like For Honor-esque, except good.
Was it just when it turns into Hero, the Jet Li movie?
Pretty
he's
much.
Just like swiping arrows out of the way everywhere as he just sort of
just like having arrows in his armor, and he's just still slicing, just trying to defend a tower. Just thinking of possibilities in it.
No direct sequel for that character. He's definitely dying at the end, is he? Just from a rain of arrows coming towards him. Yeah.
Like the possibilities, and Sucker Punch can deliver a good ass game. Infamous Second Son was, but it still was fun to play in parts, I guess.
It was. First Light was obviously
was
a smaller
fantastic.
experience, but it was a better experience.
100%. First Light was awesome, but Second Son was a bit. But yeah, so I'm super confident in what they can bring to the table here. Maybe it's just a secret Infamous game. We don't know. Moody, what do you think?
Secret Infamous game. Bloody hell, that's a combination in hell. That like the superpowers of samurais.
He's the first.
I want
conduit.
that game now, man. I want that game. No, I love Asian culture. I love anime and everything like this. I love like one of the films you shouted out, Last Samurai, one of my favorite films out there, and this looked incredible. I love everything about it. Sucker Punch is what we've all been wondering what they were doing when they finally revealed it last year. Paris Games, we were just like, this is something we never thought. And that's what I love about all the PlayStation studios right now. They're doing something way out of their wheelhouse.
Yeah,
like Guerrillas, they normally Killzone. Oh, we brought Horizon, one of the game of the years that year. Even though the developers of God of War, they are predominantly God of War, they've changed it enough and revamped it and basically rebooted it enough to make it a completely different game.
Is it actually a reboot then? So, as someone who
no, it's not. It is a sequel.
It is a sequel. Okay.
Yeah.
So I keep seeing like people mention reboot, and I'm like, please don't be a reboot. But so it's definitely.
I meant for the gameplay, I think.
Right.
It's not. It's full on. It's a full on basic RPG type of game with a full on story. What's a more emotional impact than they did with the other ones and everything. And they also made Kratos likable. They made you like him. And I think that's all down to Christopher Judge as well, because he's a likable guy as well.
Yeah.
That's neither here or there. But back to Tsushima, that first kill, I was just like, give me this now. Yes, I want this. And everything I was saying about if it's Dark Souls, I'll still play it. I want it. I want this now, and I think it looks incredible. Yeah, give me more. And I loved even more that I heard that from a friend of mine from at Who Dat Ninja on Twitter said that they motion captured the horse.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I want to see the behind the scenes video of a horse with all the ping pong balls on it. Oh, that'd be adorable.
I was just like, yes, that they've gone full on in on this boy. I love it.
They got a blank check and they were like, how do we fill it? We're gonna motion capture a horse. And then Sean Lilly's like, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Crack on.
Not even him. It would be what's his name? Shuei. Shuei would be the one that they would have to get the okay from.
Okay. I just want to see the fucking setup for a horse getting motion captured.
Well, we do quite well with like behind the scenes videos and making of videos with PlayStation games, don't we? So you probably will see at some point how they motion captured that horse.
I want to see it so badly.
It's coming. Don't worry.
It'll be in the game as something for you to
probably. Yeah.
You killed a guy. Here's how we motion captured a horse.
Kill 20,000 people. You get to unlock this little video.
Oh, there's one more thing that's pulling me towards this game as well, and it was given by I think it's Chris Zimmerman, one of the co-founders of Sucker Punch, was giving loads of interviews after this. He also said that whilst you have an English voice option, you've also got the Japanese voice option with English subtitles, and 100%. I'm definitely playing it like that.
Yeah, that's the way the game should be played, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were getting a lot of hate until he said that. They were all saying, "Oh, why have they got English people saying the word English and all this?" I was thinking, they're just showing it because it's in an English. They're in an English-speaking country. They're going to show it that way. Yep. For God's sakes, man, Jesus! They'll give you the option to use different subtitles and everything.
It's obviously they're going for a little bit of historic realism.
Yeah.
It's a game, so it's never going to be fully historically accurate. Of course not, it's a fucking game. But it's weird that the crowd come out as soon as you say, "Oh, it's going to be historic realism." The fucking pitchforks come out and they're like, "Unless you get every single detail correct, it's shit, mate. Not going to play it. It's not historically accurate. You said it would be."
Where are the dragons? Historical accuracy.
That's it. Unless you can fuck Genghis Khan.
Oh yeah.
It's not historically accurate.
0 out of 10. No fucking of Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
We're sorry, Sucker Punch. We're really sorry.
We've rated it already.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're a biased media outlet.
Yeah, if you were thinking of sending us a copy, Sony or Sucker Punch, don't bother now. Don't bother.
Yeah, no.
Please send me one.
So, any more final thoughts on Tsushima?
I want it now.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, we don't have a date for it, do we? No.
We don't even have a year. I think 2019, but I think it's probably going to be. I think it's going to be September 2019, just like Spider-Man, before the big games come out in 2019 in the fall. I think it'll be their last big game they drop next in 2019.
Interesting.
Spider-Man. So, my first game, since we're keeping on the Sony thread, well, see, so Sony did show a lot of good stuff. It's just the way they showed it was terrible. So Spider-Man, 100% without a doubt, Spider-Man was going to be there. Ben was witness to me freaking out over the Sinister Six being titular characters in it. Apart from Electro's new look, look, I'll leave it. It's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Would you rather have a mask where it has 3 lightning bolts coming out of it?
Moody, you're asking me that. You're asking me that. Of course I
would
prefer that.
He definitely would.
100% would prefer that. Other than that, everything looked awesome. Seeing Spider-Man swing through the fucking prison. Oh my god. It's Arkham Knight ramped up with web slinging powers, which you can't be mad at that. You cannot be mad at that. What else? So Scorpion looked awesome. Don't know why I didn't fight him. He was just like, we could kill you. I'm just going to go this way now. But that rooftop battle, and then leaving it on the tease of who could be coming to Spider-Man's rescue, or is it Spider-Man's Rescue?
I don't think it's anyone. I think it's going to be the sixth villain, the Who, because they only showed 5 at the end.
True.
They're obviously going to be the sixth villain.
So
What's probably
why are you here?
either Doc Ock or Osborn.
Mysterio.
I'm really hoping it's Mysterio. But in my heart of hearts, I think it's Miles Morales. We know he's in the game. I'm hoping it's Miles coming to his rescue. Who knows? But yeah, the game looks fluid. It looks fun. It's coming this year, right? Unless it is coming this year.
It's September.
In 3 months' time.
3 months till I get my hands on another cracking Spider-Man game. Like, shit all over the second movie game, all you want, but that first movie game, The Amazing Spider-Man, was actually quite fun to play. I enjoyed myself with it, so just putting that out there.
That's all you can ask.
I really wish they'd go back and revisit Web of Shadows and Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Shattered Dimensions. Those 2 games were phenomenal. Love those. I just love Spider-Man. He's one of my favourite comic characters of all time. And I just... Like that game doesn't need Carnage or Venom. We know there's going to be optional suits because we've seen DLC for different suits, so I'm assuming more suits in the game. I'm just super excited for it. The villains are cool. I mean, is it Mr. Negative? I can never remember his name.
Yeah, it's Mr. Negative.
Yeah. Who would have thought he'd be an interesting villain to put in a video game, but he is. I'm sure we're going to see Kingpin. There's no way we don't see Kingpin.
I think his voice is in the second trailer.
Right.
I think he'd even come out and said his voice is over in one of the trailers.
Right, so there we go. So they're setting this whole world up, and I love it. I love every second of it. Show me more. It looks awesome. Running through buildings, dodging out the way. Spider sense is on point. Ben, you look like you want to say something, so go, bro.
I do, but it's not quite about Spider-Man. It sort of it follows on maybe of what Insomniac are going to do next. Obviously, this game comes out in 3 months. We might get Ghost of Tsushima next year, possibly. But what if there was a collaboration Sucker Punch, Insomniac, Logan game? That's now what I fucking want, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh my god, just imagine.
That all goes down to the Disney Fox 21st Century deal.
It would do, yes.
We would have to see what happens with that.
I thought Marvel Games would be fine. Like, no, did not. Fox only have the movie rights, right?
No, they sold all the rights to them.
Oh my god, for fuck's sake, Marvel.
Apart from the comic books, that's why you don't get any X-Men comic books anymore, or Fantastic Four comic books.
Hey, Fantastic Four are coming back, because we demanded it. I don't know if it's going to be good. It probably won't. And then they'll stop it after 6 issues. But they're coming back, so don't shit over Fantastic Four. They're still my favourite family in comics.
That's fair.
I don't disagree with you. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah! Could we see people outside of Spider-Man property crop up? Like, I remember a while back there was
I've got a comic book like this.
Yeah.
And this one here. I've got it already, man. I've got a lot of pages to read here.
Could we see other characters pop up? So I remember a while back there was a rumor that the Sanctum Strange, Sanctum Supreme was in the film. Oh, I'm lost now. Where am I?
In the game.
In the game. So
Yep.
could Doctor Strange appear?
I think it was reported again week, wasn't it? Only a few days ago that that they think Doctor Strange is going to be in the game as well.
I really hope so. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man have some good banter. It'll be quite fun.
Seems like an odd pairing, though.
Well, maybe Spider-Man needs to get to the negative zone, and then Doctor Strange can open a portal for him. It can just be a cameo.
Yeah.
That's simple how you fix it. You've got a guy who opens portals to different dimensions. Mr. Negative's trapped Gwen Stacy in it. Don't do Mary Jane.
Spider-Gwen. I want Spider-Gwen.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Be amazing.
I'd much prefer to see Doctor Strange than Iron Man again.
Oh yeah,
obviously we've got that in the films. We don't need that kind of pairing in the games as well. I think it'd be good for them to go in a different direction.
So I'm like incredibly hyped about this game. I'm probably gonna try and get the collector's edition of it. Who knows?
There's a statue. There's a statue coming for it.
Rhino looks awesome. They're doing Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man 2 justice. You know, not Paul Giamatti in it.
I am the Rhino. I'm in 2 scenes, and that's it.
You're wasting my acting ability.
Have you seen? Have you? Sorry, going on the film here, but have you seen what he was standing on when he was doing that?
No.
Oh, he was just standing on like just a little trolley, and he's just like standing, going, "Oh no!"
Like a shopping trolley.
Yeah, no, basically kind of something like that. I was just like, wow.
Oh my god.
I hope he got paid a lot to do this bugger.
Filmmaking. Well, they do, because Sony just throw money at it and hope it works, and then when you don't actually have any talent, like, not to say Mark Webb's not a talented director, I still like Mark Webb. I just think he got completely overruled on everything.
Yeah, he got shafted.
Yeah, 100%. He got the Josh Trank treatment, except Josh Trank didn't do any favours for himself. Yeah,
That is true.
so Spider-Man looks awesome. Cannot wait. This year, there's going to be keep tuned to Outer Lives. Everyone's going to be talking about it. I know me and Ben will probably. Actually, Moody, you'll get it day one, I'm assuming.
Hell yeah! I've already got it ready to send to me on my renting system. So yeah, I'm ready.
So
nice.
yeah, so it'll be like. We'll probably be updating you as we progress through Spider-Man. I'm probably not going to sleep. I'll just live stream me beating it. It's fine. You can live stream from the PS4 probably.
You can, yeah.
I don't play my PS4 often. It's a Netflix machine. Or Persona 5. I still need
Great
to keep
exclusives,
Persona.
and you just use it for a Netflix machine.
Look, right, they cost money,
wow.
and money is something I lack there of.
Fair.
That's
right,
fair. That's fair.
so yeah, Ben, we'll throw back to you. What are you doing, Skype? Skype, stop!
Oh no!
It's
Skype all right?
I don't know. You guys just got really dark.
Just the lights come down,
There we go. It's fixed. It's fixed.
and suddenly they come back up, and Agent 47 is stood behind me. Because I was talking about that too. That's a brilliant segue, Scott. Brilliant segue.
Thank you.
Hitman 2. It's this year. It comes out about 10 days after my birthday. That's going to be my nice little present to myself. I love Hitman. It's the reason my handle is Nova47, on everything. I just cannot wait to play more of this updated version of Hitman. Of IO's current take on the franchise. I know they've added a few little bits, things like being able to hide in crowds, so it's a lot harder for people to be able to detect you, and you can kind of play a little bit of cat and mouse in between crowds from people. The mission that they showed, which we've seen a few times, in their reveal, and then at E3 a couple of times, the Miami scene where one of your targets is driving a racing car. That, obviously they're still just moving around a map, as targets will always do in a Hitman map, but to give it that different sense of speed and scale I think works really well. You've got to think about it completely differently when you've got a target which is, moving at such a pace that they almost seem untouchable. And that makes maybe you have to extend your time in the map a little bit to wait for them to finish what they're doing, and to kind of hide out a little bit more, be a little bit more patient. But it gives you so many more options, and that's what I want from Hitman. I want as many options as possible. I replayed those missions from the game from a couple of years ago so many times, trying to do so many different things, and having all of those little hints that say, oh, maybe you could do this, maybe you could do this, trying to work through those and to to kill in so many different ways. It's all about killing.
That's so bad. It's all about killing. That was creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
That was unsettling, Ben.
Thank you.
That is unsettling. No, Hitman is a great franchise. It's always at best when it becomes a sandbox. Is it Blood Money? Is it Blood Money or is it Blood Rain? It's Blood Money. Isn't it? Yeah. Blood Money is still my favorite Hitman in the franchise. It's just such a good game. It's a great franchise. I still need to go back and play the other one. Shout out to Lucy. She never shuts up about it, and it always makes me want to go and play it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to play Hitman, and I always it's always there in my mind to go back and play the last Hitman, and then something crops up, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, it's there. I can play it, and I just keep forgetting. But
You should. I mean, it goes on sale. Anyone who doesn't have Hitman, you know, if you want to build up before it, it's always on sale as well. You can pick it up for like 15 quid in most sales. And we're gonna have more summer sales going on and stuff, so it's definitely worth a pickup. It's even worth a pickup at full price when it came out.
100%, yeah. Moody, what are your thoughts on Hitman?
No thoughts on it. I've never played a Hitman game, and I didn't play the last one, so it's unfair for me to say.
Damn.
I will probably give this new one a try because my whole aim this year and last year was all giving games I never thought I would try a go. So I'll probably still give it a go. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and we can't play everything, can we? So, you know, there are always going to be games, there are always going to be franchises that you miss out on. We just don't have the time to play every single game that comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, again, just to hark on it, like, the fact that there's more options, like, and that race car mission, like, maybe you can cut the brakes on the car or something, like, the thoughts, I'm just...
Yeah.
It's so tantalising. That's the best thing about Hitman is just, what if I do that? Oh, okay, and then seeing like the Rube Goldberg machine-esque mechanics at work, where it's like, well, this leads to this, and my target's dead, and I'm just like having a drink at the bar, just watching the chaos unfold underneath you.
That's it. As soon as that car explodes, you just turn around and leave the room, just coolly and casually.
Ah, man, I love Hitman. I don't love the movies.
I enjoyed the first one.
Oh,
I can't deny it. I did have fun because it was to what I was going off what my mate did, and I've seen them play it, but I never played them.
Which was the first one, the Timothy Oliphant one?
Yes, I think so.
Not the new Agent 47. Oh God.
What was meant to be played by Paul Walker until his untimely death.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't know that.
God, no, that's a bad casting.
Yeah. Well, I had a second. The guy who got the replacement was a bad casting.
That's true. Yes. It was, yeah.
The problem was doomed. The project was doomed from the start. So Moody, hit me up with another game.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Ooh. Okay. So
when I heard that they were showing a new one, I was like, no, please, God, you're doing it right. Do a game every 2 years. Don't give us a new one. And I was thinking, okay, maybe they're just showing us because it's going to be an early 2019 game. Obviously, it isn't. But I loved what I saw. I can't deny it. I loved what I saw. I loved Origins, and it just looks like they've just improved and expanded on that even more. And I loved it. And even though I never thought I wanted to be an assassin Sparta, and you get someone to do the Spartan thing on the game, I just loved everything I saw from it. I thought the game mechanics looked even more fluid and better than they did in Origin, which is surprising because Origin was already played really well. Graphics look even more better, which we already knew it was going to be. And just the new options that you can choose. I know they've already done this with Syndicate and everything, but they give you a full-on choice now to either play fully as a man or just fully as a woman. Mm-hmm. And I love the options. I love the dialogue options. They're expanded into other reaches of different genres for this game, and that's what's going to keep it. It's going to keep it fresh. It's going to reboot it in some sort of way in the action or gameplay and whatnot, and that's what they need to do. And I can't wait for this. Now all we need is the Japanese samurai one, and then we've got all we wanted, and then they can retire this franchise altogether. But that's neither here or there. But I think the date is wrong. I think they should have dropped it 2019, but that's neither here or there.
You mean February 22nd, 2019?
Fuck February 22nd. Fuck it. Seriously, I hate that day already.
No,
it's either the best day or the worst day.
It's 100%
it's the worst day
because
there's too many coming out, mate. It's the worst day. Crackdown's fucked already.
Yeah, but it's in the Game Pass, so it's free, essentially. And I'm probably going to be grinding my ass off playing Anthem. Let's not kid ourselves. I don't think the game looks great. I like grinding games where I can grind for shit. What was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought now. What were we talking about?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the whole new powers aspect of it makes me intrigued. It's set in Sparta, which is a really cool setting. Origins did a lot of cool stuff, especially with their world events where you fight gods. So I'm hoping that's carried over. I'd love a fight against Zeus. I would love it. I think it'd be amazing. So I like the whole Assassin's Creed mythology. They've course corrected it in the best way possible. That's not to say Syndicate was bad. Like Syndicate was good. It was just it was getting very tired. The formula was very tired. So then Origins came and was like, it's becoming more of a BioWare game. Like we're getting the dialogue options. We've got the gear and the
Nothing wrong
classes.
with that.
Got the romances, yeah, it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
interrupt.
RPG Assassin's Creed. It's awesome. So my next game of E3 has to be Shadows Die Twice or Sekiro. I don't know how to say that, so I'm just going to stick to Shadows Die Twice. From Software's new game, published by Activision. Activision publishing a new game in 2018.
Yeah.
What is this? This is not the Activision we know.
Doesn't mean out. Sorry, it doesn't mean out that they're doing this game, that they're publishing this.
Nah, true.
The guys who are creating it, that gives us all the
From
tingle
Software, all hands on this, and it. From the
It
looks
was
of
actually
things,
when I saw Activision's names, I was like, that's what I was like. Good joy. And then From
the
Software.
loot boxes. You got to get that loot box of the grappling hook. I can't. No, FromSoft would put their foot down. I don't think they'd want that.
Well, it's an extra 50p for the grappling hook, isn't it? So
Right. Okay. Pre-order bonus and
yeah.
digital deluxe version of it. Let's not talk about the shit going on with Black Ops 4 right now. Let's keep focused on Shadows Die Twice. This game looks awesome. You're a samurai / ninja with a grappling hook fighting giant horse mounted guys with giant staff slashes. The game looks so fluid, and it looks like Bloodborne on acid in the feudal Japan era. I love it. I love it. Like, there's not much.
It looks a lot more. I like how they've gone for a slightly more kind of platformy take on it. You know, with the more fluid movement with that grappling hook and stuff.
There's a lot of verticality to the combat in this one.
Yeah.
It
Builds on Bloodborne. You know, which again built on Dark Souls pretty well. You know, Bloodborne brought in that gun to be able to parry. And stuff like this. So to then just take it another step further and to kind of enhance, your movement and your combat and stuff is it looks really good.
Moody?
Really liked what I saw. Don't know if I'll play it because it's From Software. They hate me. They don't like weak, pathetic people who like easy games. They don't like that. No, I probably could give it a try. I'm not entirely sure just because, I'll admit it, I'm not good at their games, but I respect the hell out of them. I respect the hell out of what they were able to do. The Dark Souls trilogy is absolutely incredible for a lot of people. They love that. But Bloodborne is arguably one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives this generation. And it was a nice coup for Microsoft to get them on their conference because they've normally been primarily on PlayStation of late. This isn't exclusive, is it, to Microsoft though?
No.
It's going to be cross-platform.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside for them. If they could have just made that exclusive for themselves, that would have been a nice little touch for them.
If it was
Everyone were like, "Oh my god, and all that." But no, it's neither here or there.
Yeah. So we'll pick one final game. Starting with you, Moody.
I think it'd be unfair of us not to pick an Xbox One exclusive, so I'm going to pick Ori. Ori absolutely looks fantastic. It was a fantastic game. The first one was an incredible game, and for them to make this one look even more beautiful looks incredible. The platform looks even better than before, and I just can't wait for this game. I was disappointed to hear that's 2019. I thought they might have got this 2018. But the fall 2018 is already bloody stacked already, so I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It's okay. But I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be an incredible, another great platform game for them. Hopefully, maybe another studio they can buy.
I really hope so. That Ori and the Blind Forest, phenomenal game. I've said it many times. It's probably one of my favorite Xbox games in ever. And
Cuphead's probably their strongest exclusives this generation.
Yeah,
and that's a shame to say. That's bad on their AAA part, but to hear that I've always said this generation the indie games have blown it out of the park. This generation, they really have.
It looks like
from Rocket League to all the others. They've been amazing.
Ori just looks like it's next level now. He's got new powers, new abilities. Like anything you want from a 2D platformer, Ori is delivering. Like. The soundtrack is probably like one of Ori's strongest things throughout, and it looks like they're gonna do an even better soundtrack this time. Like the story, like, it's told all through expression, and it looks like they're gonna just double down on that. Like, it looks like they're just doubling down on Ori and the Blind Forest and giving us the sequel we all deserve. And like, it could be Game of the Year in 2019. Honestly, like, I genuinely love Ori and the Blind Forest. And
I think that's a contender. It could be a contender.
Especially with like the emotional turns they're teasing, like with the bed and stuff. Like, it could be something. It could be a profound moment. I mean, it might not be, but like, there's no way this game's not great. And leaving it to 2019 to get everything right, it's gonna be great, no matter what.
It does make sense for them to leave it to next year. I mean, yes, they've been a bit light this year. We've got the next Forza is coming out this year, and that's is that their last game coming out?
That's the last exclusive this year. If there's any others, it'll be an indie game.
Indie game, yeah. I mean, it makes sense with all the third-party games that come out in the run-up to Christmas. That if they'd have put it out this year, that maybe it would have been overshadowed a little. As long as it's not February 22nd, 2019, they'll probably do quite well.
Yeah. I hope so. I really like the team who make Ori, and I like just go and play Ori. It's essentially the war cry. Like, I think most Xbox people, like, is it in the Game Pass yet? They should chuck Ori in the Game Pass.
Ooh,
it's an exclusive, so if it's not yet, it will be soon.
Yeah, they need to chuck it in the Game Pass.
It's a console exclusive. I've got it on Steam.
Well, all Microsoft titles are on PC pretty much now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Steam.
That's what he's got on Steam. Separate thing.
Right.
That's maybe why.
Maybe.
Could be.
I hope so. I hope it gets put in there, because the more people that play it, the more people who will appreciate the second one, and that's just... It's a humbling thought. It's really humbling, and it's awesome, and I like it so much. It's so cute. Yeah, I love Ori. Any final thoughts, Moody, on Ori?
I can't wait for it. I love the first one. I was late to get it because I was just my first console I got out of this generation was a PlayStation 4. It was our good friend MC Fixer who convinced me to get an Xbox, and this was one of the first games I got. Played it, loved it, cried a lot. I hate them. I don't want to cry again. So why the hell not? Yeah. That's the thing where it's coming. This generation's been all about the games that are standing out the most, the games that are emotionally impacting people.
Yeah,
like God of War. That's Hellblade and everything. Definitely. I think what people love even more about Hellblade is the person who performed the motion capture for the character, because she has no experience in doing it. She beat everybody for the best acting of the year. That is incredible to think.
That's raw talent.
Yeah.
You can tell it's someone who's connected on an emotional level with the role they've got and just giving it their all. And like, she does it justice. No, 100% she does it justice.
Yeah.
That game is something else. And so is Ori and the Blind Forest, so go and play it. Ben, your final game of this podcast.
There was one game that was on Microsoft's stage. Mm-hmm. That was then shown a little bit at the PC Gamer Show. It's made by two guys in London. I can never remember the name of the studio. London. But it's Sable. Okay. And it looks fantastic. The art style of this game looks phenomenal. I've not seen a huge amount about it, in terms of kind of like what you're doing and things like that. But it kind of gives me those little tones and the feeling that Journey gave me.
Oh, yes, now I know which one you're on about, yeah.
Yeah. It kind of almost feels a little bit like that. It's a very sort of... what we saw in the trailers, there's a lot of movement, a lot of exploration, moving through different environments and things like that. And I mean, the art style is just looks really good. And to know that this is coming from sort of like a small team as well, it just kind of like calls out to me a little bit. I don't know when it's coming out. I can't remember the name of the studio.
We'll definitely have to try and get in touch with them and then see if they'd come on and promote Sable. This is like the pop arty rotoscope type one. Yeah. This game looked awesome. Definitely something different, which is nice. Like, it is like you can't go sole character wandering through a desert without thinking of Journey, especially an indie game. But yeah. This game, like, at least from a aesthetic point of view, looks something different. It's something we haven't seen in the gaming space. Harkens back to that pop art. it looks rotoscoped, which is you either like rotoscoping or you don't. Like it's a throwback to A Scanner Darkly and stuff like that. It works or it doesn't work. For me, it works. I really like that style.
Yeah, I do.
And Moody, what do you know what it is? Do you remember what it is?
I'm trying to find it now.
Right.
What's it called again? Stable.
Sable.
Sable. It's one that almost came out of nowhere, and it was shown so briefly in that montage on Xbox. And I didn't watch the PC Gamer Show, and I understand that it was shown a little bit more there. But I've seen kind of little hints and little clips and videos and other people talking about it as well. I know it featured as one of the guys' games on the IGN UK podcast. They were talking about it last week, the week before, maybe, I think, perhaps. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember. Too much stuff goes on for me to remember all of these things. But, yeah, if you have a chance, as Moody is doing now, just go and look at it, because it looks just beautiful. I really like that art style.
Yeah.
And it's something that maybe we haven't...
The company is Raw Fury.
Raw Fury.
Thank you.
It says Raw Fury, and let me see the other one, because there's two upcoming. Would be Raw Fury and Shedworks.
Might be Shedworks. Is Raw Fury going to publish, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe. But that looks very much an indie version of Borderlands in the art style. I like the look of it. I think it looks really good. And what I can't remember that game until you talked about it there, Ben. But there was so many games to remember.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's in a quick montage, and if you didn't watch the gaming PC show, it's pretty easy to have looked over. And that's like the best thing is like finding these diamonds in the rough of E3. And yeah, Ben, I think you pointed out a really, really good one there. To follow on from that, I mentioned it briefly at the top of the show. My final game, and probably the final game of this podcast, is Tunic.
Cool.
That game, like, it brings back the simplicity of going back to old school Zelda, where you're just wandering through. It's got the cutest bloody character in the world. And I really look forward to playing it. I don't think it's an exclusive or it's a console exclusive, but something like that. Either way, Microsoft showed it, and it just looked like it oozed style. It looked like it knew what it wanted to be. Doesn't look too complex, and it's got a brilliant character in there.
It does, and the scale looks quite good as well, because they sort of, they had it quite close up with the character, and they zoomed out a little bit to show you a little bit more of the environment and stuff.
Mobile.
Monument
Valley, yeah.
Does a little, yeah.
I think this could be a console Monument Valley for, like, if you haven't played Monument Valley, you should probably do that. It's probably one of the best mobile games out there.
I mean, I love these kind of more modern versions of that kind of gameplay, that kind of exploratory gameplay, stuff like Hyper Light Drifter. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So Tunic again is another one which definitely calls to me. Probably if it is an Xbox exclusive, they'll more than likely be on PC as well, which is probably where I'll play it. But yeah, that's looking really good.
And Moody, your thoughts on Tunic?
Tunic was cute as hell. Can't wait for it.
I want all the plush of Tunic.
Yeah.
We will in the coming weeks try and reach out to get some developers on the show, get some breakdowns and stuff. Hopefully we can get Sable guys on there. I'm talking to a few people, Ben. I can't reveal anything just yet, but in the coming weeks we will have some guests. Hopefully, last minute changes providing. They might not show, but I'm talking to a few people. We're organising some really cool stuff. Thank you for joining me, Moody. Where can people find you?
Just want to mute myself. Glorious movie show on OutofLives. We just dropped our latest episode where we talk all things movie related news 2 times a week. It'll drop every Tuesday and Friday. And
you just did Spider-Man's new title, or is it? Who knows?
That is true. And at Mr. Glorious One on Twitter for me.
And Ben, where can we find you?
I'm at Nova_47 on Twitter. I'm Nova_47 on PSN and on Steam as well. If you want to play some games, on Out of Lives, I host Tanked Up, where Miss Yearwood, Lucy and I, and Adel, when he's not doing his dissertation and he has the time to talk to us and get drunk with us, talk about lots of games, and just generally get pretty hammered.
Can't complain at that. Can't complain. You can find me at Scott Stedman. I'm on OutofLives doing all the card game stuff at the moment, but more on that soon. This podcast will be possible without our sponsor, buytcg.cards. You can get 7% off using the One Live Up code. Please go and support them. It makes our job a hell of a lot easier. And they sponsor the podcast, so go and give them a help. Like, you can get something cheap. It's great. And yeah, we've been the OutofLives podcast. We'll be back next week, hopefully. And who knows? Send us in your topics. You can tweet any of us, and we'll talk about it. You can email podcast at what is the fucking
podcast at outoflives.net.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Yeah. So you can email Ben.
Podcast at outoflives.net.
If you have any topics or suggestions for the show, otherwise just tweet us. We'll respond. We'll talk about it, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you, boys, for joining me, and goodbye.
Sorry, Nintendo, we didn't talk about you.